So this one is so crazy, and I don't believe the story that is posted everywhere with it. So, all right. So, her name is Wahlberger Ostrich.
What?
That's legit her name.
Wahlberger
Her
Ostrich?
name. Yep. So her name is Wahlberger Ostrich, and she prefers Dolly Ostrich. All right. So I'm going to go by Dolly for this story. Dolly was born in 1880 by immigrant parents. She grew up in Milwaukee in a German town with her immigrant parents. And they were a pretty poor family to the point where in Milwaukee in the 1800s, late 1800s, anyone could work, right? So in order to support her family and get them food, she started working at the age of 12. So she started working at the age of 12. She goes to work at this textile factory, all right? Mm-hmm. And she meets this guy there, Fred, okay? Fred Osterreich. He was 17, she was 12, which is just weird because, like, the story goes that this is so weird just saying it, even, honestly. That she was really attractive. Like, I'm thinking of a 12-year-old in my head. Like, how on earth could you look at a 12-year-old and be like, damn, she looked good? Like, dude. She doesn't even have, like, a full vocabulary and still wants to play on the monkey bars. Like, it's just so strange to me. But different time, I guess, you know. They don't get married until she's 17, the legal age. But I have no idea what happened in between then. That's when they met and they started dating and everything. And Fred's family owned that textile factory, right? So they get married at 17, which, you know, again, super weird. They held out 5 years. But everyone described her as being extremely charismatic, and people were just drawn to her, like that sociopathic draw, you know what I mean? People that, like, they just have a lot of people around them that want to be around them, that want to talk to them. Overly charismatic and just a good time to be around. That's how everyone described her as. But anyways, they get married. She's 17 and he is 5 years older than her. They take that textile business and start building a life together. They start, you know, making multiple other businesses together, and they start making really good money. Like, their businesses are really successful. So she's a stay-at-home wife, and there are no kids involved in this story. So, you know, Fred goes to work, they have multiple businesses, and Dolly stays at home. Well, sometime along the way, Fred starts putting in long hours. If he's not working, he's home drunk. And he was a whiskey drinker, and he drank a lot. Everyone knows what happens to dudes who drink a bunch of whiskey. You get the whiskey D, and it just doesn't work. But what's funny is she says in accounts given by her that Fred also really sucked in bed.
Okay.
So he has, like, everything working against him. He works too much. When he is home, he's got the whiskey D. If by chance he actually can get it up, he really sucks in bed. So Dolly was just really unhappy and really unsatisfied. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so... What? What?
It's just funny.
It is funny, I know. And... so she was really unhappy and really unsatisfied. So she, at this time, it's 1913. 33 years old, and she's trying to
It's 1913?
Yep.
Okay.
And Dolly is 33 years old. And there's no accounts of anything that happened from the time she's 17 to the age of 33. But when you hear more about this woman, like there's more to that. It's just she's passed and gone and everything. But so she's 33 at this time. She tries using her sewing machine, but her sewing machine is broke. So she reaches out to Fred, her husband, who she already is super unhappy with, whatever. And says, hey, I need you to send somebody over here to repair the sewing machine. I need to use it, right? And there's this guy that she's hoping he sends over, which already makes me feel like that there's some kind of connection there already, right? Because just wait till you hear it. But this guy's name is Otto Sandhuber. Otto Sandhuber. And he gets sent over to fix the sewing machine.
What's up with these names?
Right. It's the late 1800s, early 1900s. But so Dolly knew that she wanted to hook up with him. Like, she was eyeing him. She was into him. She thought he was like everything, and super attracted to him. So she knew she had to land him, Otto, when he came over. And she
was going to seduce him.
Well, she answered the door only in a robe, an opened robe, to make sure. Like, she didn't play around. When she wanted something, she was going to get it. You know what I mean? That's how I feel from her. So, of course, he got it in, goal, and they started doing the thing. And as Fred's at work and always gone or drunk or not there for her, she was running around with Otto to all the hotels in the area. Well, it started adding up quick as they started sleeping together more and more and more on a daily occurrence, right? And Dolly was worried about Fred figuring it out with the money situation because hotels are expensive. So what she does is she has Otto start coming over to the house, all right? Well, every time Fred would leave, a lot of days Otto would come, and her neighbors started asking, who's that guy coming to your house every day, right? And dude, there wasn't phones or anything. Like,
neighbors.
nobody could get away with anything back then because, like, their phones were looking out their blinds, you know what I mean? What's my neighbor doing over there? Can you imagine how nosy neighbors were back then?
Apparently it's still like that in Germany.
Really?
Yeah, they just stand there and stare at you out their windows like this.
That would be super funny. I'd just intentionally do things to, like...
It's not seen as rude there. Like, everybody does it.
I mean, whatever, But the neighbors asked who he was, and Dolly was quick to respond with that it was her brother, and he's homeless, like nomadic. He travels around,
he's
couch
homeless.
surfs, and you know what I mean?
Just my homeless brother.
Yeah, so don't even worry about it.
That I sleep with.
and the neighbors believed her.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. But they were still worried that they were drawing too much attention to him with the hotels, and now the neighbors asking. They didn't want to give up the sex. Like, obviously it must have been something good, right? So they hatched a plan together, and their plan
oh gosh,
was for Otto to move into their attic. So
what?
Yeah, she asked Otto to quit his job and move into her attic.
Just hide up there and you can come down and give me a quickie whenever.
Yes, absolutely. And Otto always wanted to be a science fiction writer, like a pulp fiction writer. So he eagerly was like, yeah, I'm all about it, sex all day long, and then at night I'm going to write my books and read books, and everything would be great, and he was all about it. So Otto essentially agreed to be Dolly's sex slave. Yeah, with the never-ending lays and like what a life, you know what I mean? Attic sex books, like that's it. That's all they need. So, anyways, he Dolly gets him all set up with his mattress, a candle, a desk up there, and he goes to it. He starts writing his science fiction and everything, and he ends up staying up there and doing that for 5 years.
5 years?
5 years. All right. All the way until 1917. And so from 1913 to 1917. Now get this. Fred, Dolly's husband, wants to move to California because he's super freaked out. He wants a change of scenery. Remember, this guy's drunk. When he comes home, like, they argue, he drinks. Like, their relationship is bad. I'll get there. He keeps hearing noises in the house, and he's super worried about it,
There's
right?
a ghost in this house. We gotta move to California.
Well, get this. And Dolly admits to this, okay? When he starts asking things like, hey, did you hear that? Dolly, just straight face, looks at him like, no, I think you need to see a doctor. And she starts gaslighting the hell out of him.
Oh, no, she makes him lose his mind.
Yeah, so he literally goes and sees a doctor on record. Like, there's records of this. And the doctor tells him, nothing's wrong. So he goes back home and he continues hearing noises. He has no idea what the hell's going on. So he's like, I'm tired of Milwaukee. I want a change of scenery. All their businesses have been doing really good. So they moved to LA, right? Or they agree to move to LA. Fred and Dolly drive out to LA to go home searching and to go home hunting. And she has one request, that there's an attic.
Oh, no.
So, no joke. I swear, this is all true. So houses in LA didn't have attics, but they were able to find an attic.
Her attic
okay?
fuck buddy.
Yeah. So
Can't leave him behind.
They find one house with an attic, and I'll post a picture of it, but it overlooks sunset. It's nice, whatever. And Dolly tells Fred, like, we have to buy this house. So Fred's like, cool, you're willing to move to LA, whatever. They go back to the house. Dolly and Otto put their heads together, and she sends Otto off the next day to get there before they do, to get set up in this attic, okay? So he wants to have him up there all set up and before Fred moves in. So there is no moving while he's there, whatever, right? So they do it. He gets all set up and everything, and like during this time, things are going pretty good for Otto and Dolly. Since Otto's in LA now, he has time to go pitch his books, and he sells some books. Like, he starts...
Wait, he has published books?
Yes, he starts selling his books, his science fiction books that he's been writing the last 5 years. So, like, he's able to pitch in with money and stuff like that. It's not just Dolly taking care of him, right? But on the downside, Fred is still hearing the sounds. The sounds have followed him there, all right? And he's getting more paranoid and more upset, and things are not good. And he goes to the doctor again. Everything's fine. And he starts taking it out on Dolly. And, they're arguing almost every night. And one of the nights in 1922, actually, it's August 22nd of 1922, they have a huge fight. All this paranoia, frustration, everything finally blows up one night, and they have a huge fight. Since this fight was so huge, the screaming could be heard by the neighbors, by Otto upstairs, and by Otto's account, he could hear it loudly, right? Mm-hmm. So, at least for this fight, Otto decides to finally come out and back up the love of his life or whatever, right?
Oh, gosh.
Right? So they're down in the kitchen fighting. Otto crawls out of his attic space, which exits right into their bedroom, okay? So it makes me think, like, how many times was Fred asleep and, like, he came out and they messed around? Because, dude, this is, like, been going on for, like, 7 years by now. You know what I mean? Like, an insane amount of time. But, so Otto comes out. He knows where Fred keeps his guns. So he grabs these two 25 caliber pistols and goes to save his maiden in distress, right?
Oh, gosh.
And the cuck goes to save the maiden. And, well, I guess he would be the lover, but whatever. So he goes down to stand up to Fred. And it didn't say anywhere what exactly was said, but a fight ensued, okay? And Fred, they had their arms locked. Fred had Otto's arms, and Otto had the guns, the two guns in hand, fires one shot off. One shot goes into the wall or the ceiling. It misses Fred altogether. Well, the next three shots land straight in his chest. Oh. So, into his heart, kills Fred immediately, and they immediately start freaking out, right? Dolly and Otto trying to figure out, like, what to do, whatever. But, like, can you imagine what Fred probably thought when he saw Otto there?
Oh, my gosh. It all made sense finally, probably.
Well, yeah, Otto used to work for him. Literally told him to go over to the house. And then can you imagine, like, being in a gnarly fight with your partner and feeling like you're crazy, the frustration, and then seeing Otto there after you moved from Milwaukee to LA, right? And hearing the noises, like...
Do you think he had enough time to make sense of it?
I have no idea.
I'm curious.
Have no idea whatsoever. Or was there enough time for Dolly to give, like, an ultimatum, like, he's not going anywhere, you know what I mean? This fight has to stop, or whatever, you know? And I don't know. But going back to the story here. So Fred's laying on the ground, shot, already dead immediately, you know, from bullet piercing his heart. Otto goes into protector mode, okay? And they're both freaking out. He shoves Dolly into a closet that intentionally locks from the outside, locks the outside of the door. Otto goes and ransacks the whole house, throws stuff all over the place, grabs some really expensive items, including a custom gold and diamond watch, and then scurries back into his attic hole, right? Knowing the shots were loud enough, the screams were heard, that somebody was going to call the police. Police show up pretty quickly, find Fred on the ground, do a search of the house, find Dolly locked in a closet, and that gives Dolly the perfect chance to let the cops know, you know, as they're interviewing them, that, yeah, somebody broke in, immediately locked me in a closet. I heard Fred fight him. He shot Fred, and then I heard him ransacking the house. According to the police, they didn't really believe this, but they didn't have any evidence to the contrary, right? The guns were missing. There were things missing in the house. It was ransacked. She was locked in the closet from the outside. She could have never done that, right?
Yeah.
So she gets let go. And what's funny is, like, this is the time right here where her and Otto could be together, okay? They get to be together. She now has all of Fred's money, and from everything I read, it sounds like they're millionaires even back in this time, so they had a good amount of money, right?
Yeah.
Well, they go and look for a new house, okay? They find a new house, and she moves into the new house, and this is the funny part, okay? After everything, she finds a house with an attic. He chooses, or she forces, there's no way to know here, to stay in the attic. And this continues for like a couple more years where Otto stays in the attic.
So he was a submissive?
I think legit he probably was a sex slave. That's the only thing I can think of, like a willing sex slave, okay? Well,
it seems like it has to be like that.
right, because she goes out and dates and stuff and meets guys, and she's back in the dating pool.
Oh, so she goes out and actually dates?
Yes.
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
And
yeah.
And
he is a slave.
She finds a new guy pretty quickly. This guy, Herman Shapiro, and he is a really successful lawyer, and he's super into her. And things just kick off right away. They have a ton of chemistry and everything. Well, pretty soon into their relationship, she wants to give him a gift, right?
Okay.
So she gives him a gift. He opens it up, and it's a watch, a nice gold and diamond watch. And he literally says right when he opens it, "Isn't this the watch that got stolen from when your husband was killed?" And she quickly says, "No, or yes, it is that watch, but as I was cleaning up the house later, I found it, and since there were still other things missing, I didn't want to tell the police, whatever, okay?"
Was it just normal for everyone to know those details back then?
Yeah, for sure. People were nosy and knew everything. There weren't any phones. Like, the newspaper was it, you know?
Okay.
So if you had a front page on a newspaper, literally everybody knew. So, anyways, he says, that's pretty believable, and accepts that answer, and he goes on to wear it every day. So, but you got to remember, Herman is a really successful lawyer. What do really successful lawyers have to do to be successful at their job? Put in a ton of hours, okay? So, she soon finds herself in another situation where her actual guy that she's with, not Otto, who is her day guy, is not there for her because he's working a ton of hours, okay? And she gets bored because she's the type of woman who needs multiple men, whatever.
And they're back at it.
Who?
Her and Otto.
They never stopped.
Yeah, I know.
They never stopped. She finds another man, a Roy Klum. So now she is with Roy Klum, who is...
So what, she leaves the lawyer guy?
No, an actor, businessman, and all-around, like, good-looking dude. Younger than her and everything. And she has her lawyer guy that she's with and keeps Otto in the
attic. Okay.
Yes. So one day, while out on a date with Roy Klum, her newest guy, she hands him a .25 caliber handgun and says, "Hey, I need you to get rid of this gun for me. This isn't the gun from my husband's murder. I know it looks like it, but it's not, and it gives me a lot of trauma and gives me flashbacks, and because it's so similar, I just don't want anything to do with this. Can you please get rid of this for me?" And Roy, like Herman did with the watch, was like, "I guess that makes sense, sure," and he takes it and he dumps it in the nearby tar pits in the area.
She must have been super manipulative.
Super manipulative, or like a sex god, like just like willing to do the kinky stuff that none of the proper women would do. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's got to be something, dude. But anyway, so he does it for no questions asked. And not too long after that, she has the second gun, the other 25 caliber, right? And she goes to her neighbor. Remember, she moves, has new neighbors. She goes to her neighbor and says, hey, the same thing to him. I know this is what it looks like, but it's not. This thing gives me trauma, yada, yada. Well, her neighbor also agrees to take the second gun. Buries it in his backyard.
Oh my gosh!
So, I know. She must have been like the ultimate mega hot stuff cougar sex god, because she's literally owning these guys left and right. And like, as I'm listening to this and reading on this, I keep thinking, this is literally the woman that never exists that red pill guys talk about. Like, this is how they expect every woman to be out there. Like, that would be great if women had confidence like this.
A man for every use.
Yeah, that would be great if women had confidence like this, like she did, and women, you know, didn't feel oppressed in ways where they couldn't do this if they wanted to, like, you know. But anyways, it was making me laugh. But so a couple years goes by, and she dumps the movie star, businessman, whatever, Roy Klum. Roy gets so mad that he goes directly to the police station and says, hey, I need to tell you guys about something. This happened a couple years ago. It seemed really shady at the time. I probably should have put it together, but I didn't, and I just want to let you guys know about it, all right? So the police go and they find the gun, okay? Because they find the gun, they now arrest Dolly. While Dolly's being arrested from her home, her neighbor sees the cops. The neighbor now goes to the cops and says, hey, I had something happen a couple years ago where she asked me to bury this gun. So he gives them the gun. They now have both murder weapons, okay? And she's sitting in jail, and she realizes that, hey, I'm stuck in jail. No one's going to be there for Otto. So she calls her powerful lawyer dude and tells him that, hey, my brother's staying in my house. I really need you to go feed him and let him know it's okay to come out, whatever. This is what you do. You do 3 knocks, like, and he knows that it's okay to come out, right? So he goes to the house, does the knocks, Otto comes out, and Herman starts asking him questions. Remember, he's a lawyer, so I'm sure he has good conversation skills to ask questions. Well,
yeah,
he ends up spilling everything. Like, yeah, we're having sex all the time, literally every day,
Otto
yada, yada,
does?
yada. Yeah, and he realizes that's not her brother, and Herman kicks Otto out. Okay, so Otto is gone. They end up letting her out of jail because the guns are too deteriorated, and she has a BA lawyer dude who fights and gets them dropped because there's no way to connect her to these guns, okay? So she's now out of jail, and she asks Herman to move in with her. So they're now living together, all right? Herman the lawyer, Otto has been kicked out and left, and Roy's gone. Well, she still sleeps around and everything, and a couple years go by, and Herman catches her hooking up with another guy. Well, Herman gets so mad that he goes to the cops and is like, hey, I'm a really important lawyer. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to give you all the evidence you need to convict her for killing her husband. So they arrest her, and they go on a manhunt for Otto. So from the time that Otto gets kicked out until now, it's been about a year, okay? In that year's time, Otto runs to Canada, marries somebody, changes his name to Walter Klein, and moves back to L.A. All in that year's time, okay?
Whoa!
Well, he gets picked up for this, all right? And gets charged with manslaughter. So like 10 years have gone by. Just a ridiculous amount of time or more has gone by. So Otto is put through trial And the lawyers lean on, hey, he wasn't mentally all there. He was a slave by her. All this stuff, like all the things that you guys are thinking right now that are so obvious. You know what I mean? Like he was totally into this. Like there was some
He was
sexual.
there by choice.
Yeah, there was some sexual.
Unless there's something I don't know, like he was chained up there and was begging to be released every day.
Which he wasn't, because Herman went to go do the Knox thing. Like he just must like being the side dude or something, and liked having a free place to live, whatever, you know, like there were some benefits there, whatever. Well, they arrest him, they charge him, and they go through the whole trial, this big long trial with Otto, and he is convicted of manslaughter. But 1 year earlier, when he got kicked out by Herman, right around that time, the statute of limitations expired for manslaughter. So why they even convicted him, I don't understand. Like, I don't get that. Is it within the law that they still need to do a trial even if the statute of limitations won't allow them to go to jail? I don't know. But anyways, so when Dolly was arrested, obviously let out, and they chose to charge her with conspiracy in all this. She went to trial. It was a hung jury. So nobody could decide. So they let her go, and the police chose to never pursue the charges again. So both of them were off scot-free. Dolly remarried, died at 80 years old in 1961 in L.A., and Otto was never heard from again.
Wow.
This is so crazy, dude. So crazy.
Gosh.
Like the wildest story ever. Literally ever.
So wild.
But I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think Otto was a slave against his will? Do you think that he was there by choice and he was into the cuck thing before a cuck thing was cool? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was going on here?
He was totally a consenting sex slave.
10 years. 10 years.
And moving across the country. All for his sex goddess. Yeah. Bam. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know by leaving some comments and joining our Discord.